Welcome to Ebert Enterprises. I want to introduce our family. First of all, Renee. We've lived here since 1987 when we got married. Our oldest, Jordan, and our daughter, Whitney. We are the 6th generation. They would be the 7th generation to be involved in agriculture.
Hi, I'm Tim Schneider, CEO and co-founder of Investors Community Bank. Today we're here with Randy Ebert from Ebert Farms. Thanks again for having us today, Randy. Really excited about this tour. As you knew, I grew up on a dairy farm, so getting back to my roots a little bit today. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at behind us here.
As dairy, it starts here. And we've got a heck of a crew here that cares for animals on a 24-hour basis.
How big is this parlor? This is a carousel, right? So tell us a little bit about the carousel.
So this is an 80-stall rotary turning at about 6 seconds each time, so the animal's on for about 8 minutes. We have a staff of 5 people around it, each with a duty, and they rotate those duties as they work their way around.
How many cows do you milk an hour?
We're trying to turn about 4,100 cows through every 7.5 hours.
Wow, that's impressive.
My dad milked 160 cows in stall barn back in the 70s and 80s, and when we started in the mid-90s here, started with a little double 6 parlor and a couple hundred cows and 3 employees, and today that's grown to like I say, 70-some employees, care for about 5,000 cows and another 3,500 heifers. And then probably, what do we got here? Somewhere around 2,500 beef also.
So Randy, tell us a little bit more about this area of the farm and what this does and the importance of this to your operation.
So there's one of the critical parts of the farm is obviously when mama has a baby and getting that baby started. And we have a group of dedicated people back here that their expertise is totally based on animal care, and have the patience and the detail to work with babies.
Randy, tell us a little bit more about this part of your operation. This is the next step after they're weaned, I assume, right?
So this is, we bring our calves back here. The first week we're hand bottling until their suckling habit is aggressive. Then we bring them into these auto feeders, and then they have a little RFID type button in their ear that will allocate when they should be fed and how much they should be fed. Normally, if you walk into a calf barn somewhere, they see a body and they think they're gonna get fed and they start bellowing. And if you notice how quiet it is here, they don't associate the people with feeding because they get that from the auto calf feeder.
The implementation of the new technology like the RFID tags to auto feed them is amazing. Randy, tell me a little bit about your beef operation, which is kind of unique, and then the potential vertical integration that you're trying to accomplish.
We're on like year 11 or 12 or something like that of experimenting with Angus on our dairy cows, and having a facility that was able to do some outdoor raising of beef. We started raising more, and little by little that has worked our way towards, okay, how can we add some value to that? This is our #1 expense of what we do. But in the end, we've got to feed what we grew to the cows.
I'm here with Chris, operations manager at Ebert Enterprises, and he's going to tell us a little more about their feed facility here and some of the ingredients that they're feeding the animals.
This is our feed shed. If we look over, we have multiple different bays that we store different commodities in. We feel that it's very important to store these commodities inside, just due to the shrink factor and price of these different commodities. So this mixture we would call a premix. It's a mix of all the different commodities into one mix, so it's easier for the feeder to load them into the mixer. Number 1, it helps save time just for more efficiencies, and 2, it's a lot more accurate because you're only dumping these smaller ingredients in once into a batch.
Okay, I'm here with Jordan Ebert. Jordan is part of the Ebert Enterprise here, son of Randy and Renee Ebert. And one of the things that Chris touched on when he talked about the feed facility here was the shrink. And I'd like Jordan to explain what that really means.
So my view of shrink is really any amount of, well, time, energy, monies that are invested into a crop. So that's the seed, that's the fertilizer, that's the ground. Any of that time, energy, money invested into that is then not recouped up into, well, essentially milk, manure, maintenance for the animals, or meat. It's any amount of feed that is created and lost along the way that doesn't go towards those sort of 4 M's.
Our business would be shaped on controlling costs, and there's no better one to start with than the feed area. And there's just so many dollars at stake there that just have to be accounted for. In the 80s, this was the top producing DHIA herd in the county. This gentleman's name was Donnie Brightlow, a true cow man. He would have been the generation that was all in the 70s and those 80s with automation. So the original buildings are right in the center, but every one of these other buildings are all repurposed buildings. What we always try to emphasize, in order for something to be sustainable, it has to be economical. Because if it isn't economical, it can't be done long term. I think the most exciting thing is we brought in a conservation coordinator about a year and a half ago. He's the guy that makes us think, what, did we do that right or didn't we do that right? And I really think it's pretty cool to have someone on staff that always makes you second guess, are we doing the best we can?
Challenges you. Yeah, that's great. Doing some great things. Thank you for sharing. We very much appreciate you taking time today, and we appreciate your business for the last 24 years. We're celebrating our 24th anniversary today as a bank, and I think you were one of our early customers, if I recall. You were in the custom heifer raising business to start, right?
Yes.
When we first started working together. So Randy, I'd be curious for you to share a little bit of what your relationship has been with Investors Community Bank and why you work with us.
I like to have a lot of flexibility, and your bank has allowed us to do that. So to take a little bit of in their shoes, I like the fact that you guys have the boots on the ground, and you're going to get to see us in our environment, whether it's out in the barn, whether it's at the table with our family.
And I agree with you. I think getting to know the customer on their turf and understanding their business is important. So thank you again, Randy, for sharing the day with us.
Thank you for all your work.
Thank you. Well, we're just wrapping up the tour here at Ebert Enterprises. I want to thank Randy, Renee, Whitney, and Jordan for taking us on this wonderful tour and allowing us to walk in your shoes today. That's a wrap.